There's a smile that doesn't ask for permission to exist, that doesn't calculate its impact before it appears, that simply unfolds across a face like the sun breaking through clouds without needing a reason or a reward. And the world has been trying to understand it, trying to replicate it, trying to bottle whatever magic makes a Brazilian smile feel less like a gesture and more like an embrace that reaches across distance and wraps around you before a single word is spoken. You've seen smiles in other places, polite smiles, professional smiles, smiles that serve a purpose and disappear the moment the purpose is fulfilled. But the Brazilian smile lingers. It stays in the room after the person has left. It changes the temperature of a space. It makes strangers feel like they've known you for years, and nobody can quite explain why. They just know that when a Brazilian smiles at them, something shifts, something softens, something that was closed suddenly opens, and they find themselves smiling back, not because they decided to, but because that smile was so genuinely warm that refusing it would feel like refusing oxygen. The rest of the world learned to smile with their mouth, but Brazil never forgot how to smile with the soul. And that difference, that almost imperceptible difference, is what makes people from other countries stop mid-sentence when they encounter it, wondering why this particular smile feels like coming home to a place they've never been. You grew up thinking everyone smiled like this. You didn't know that in most of the world a smile is a transaction, a social lubricant, a mask people put on when they need something or when they're trying to seem friendly without actually being vulnerable. You didn't know that in other places, smiling at a stranger on the street makes you look suspicious, that offering warmth without context makes people uncomfortable, that the natural ease with which you connect with others is so rare that people write articles trying to decode it, trying to understand what makes Brazilians so impossibly magnetic without even trying. You've been told you're too much, too open, too willing to let people in before you know if they're safe, and maybe you started believing that your warmth was naivety, that your smile was a weakness, that you needed to harden yourself to be taken seriously in a world that confuses coldness with professionalism and distance with intelligence. You started dimming that smile, offering it less freely, protecting yourself from a world that seemed to think your openness was an invitation to take advantage. And somewhere along the way you forgot that what you thought was vulnerability was actually a superpower, that the smile the world can't stop talking about isn't a flaw in your armor. It's the armor itself, because people can't hurt what they're too busy being mesmerized by. Here's what you didn't realize. That smile you carry isn't just politeness. It's the distilled essence of a culture that survived by choosing joy even when joy wasn't the logical response, that learned to find light in the darkest places because giving up wasn't an option and bitterness was a luxury nobody could afford. Brazil smiled through colonization, through dictatorship, through every attempt to break its spirit. And that smile became a rebellion, a quiet insistence that no matter what was taken, the warmth couldn't be stolen, the humanity couldn't be erased. The ability to see another person and offer them a moment of genuine connection couldn't be legislated away. Your ancestors smiled not because life was easy, but because smiling was how they reminded themselves and each other that they were still human, still capable of tenderness, still able to create beauty in the wreckage. And that smile got passed down through generations until it landed in you, coded into your DNA, showing up on your face before you even decide to put it there. Because it's not a choice. It's who you are. The world learned efficiency, Brazil learned presence, and presence always wins. Because people don't remember the transaction, they remember how you made them feel, and your smile makes people feel seen, makes them feel valued, makes them feel like for one brief moment someone actually cared that they existed. And in a world that's increasingly automated, distant, and performative, that kind of authentic warmth is so rare it almost feels like magic. The brutal truth is this. The world does not know how to be warm without wanting something in return. Doesn't know how to offer connection without calculating the benefit. Doesn't know how to smile from a place of genuine abundance rather than strategic advantage. And when they encounter someone who does all of that naturally, effortlessly, without a hidden agenda, it breaks something open in them. It reminds them of a way of being they've forgotten or never learned. And they either fall in love with you or resent you for showing them what they've been missing. Your smile isn't just an expression, it's a mirror. It reflects back to people their own capacity for warmth that they've been trained to suppress. It shows them that connection doesn't have to be complicated or calculated or conditional. It can just be simple, human, real, and that simplicity is what makes it so powerful. Because in its presence, all the defenses people have built start to feel unnecessary. All the walls they've constructed start to feel exhausting. And for a moment they remember what it's like to just be open without armor, to just exist, without strategy, to just connect without fear. The rest of the world built cities designed to keep people apart. Brazil built a culture designed to pull people together. And your smile is the invitation to that gathering, the unspoken message that says, "You're welcome here, you don't have to perform, you don't have to prove anything, you can just be." And in a world where everyone is exhausted from performing, that invitation is irresistible. So here's what you do with this awareness. Here's how you reclaim the power you thought was weakness. Stop apologizing for being warm. Stop shrinking that smile to make others comfortable. Stop pretending that coldness is sophistication when all it really is fear dressed up as professionalism. Your smile isn't too much, the world has just gotten too used to not enough. And the solution isn't for you to match their emptiness. It's for you to keep radiating fullness until they remember that they're allowed to be full too. The next time someone is unsettled by your warmth, understand that it's not your warmth that's the problem. It's their unfamiliarity with genuine human connection that has them confused, that has them wondering what you want, because they've been conditioned to believe that kindness always has a price tag attached. And you can't fix their conditioning, but you can keep being the example that proves it wrong. Smile at the stranger, not because you need anything from them, but because seeing another human and acknowledging their existence with warmth costs you nothing and might be the only genuine moment of connection they experience all day. Let your presence soften the room. Let your energy remind people that life doesn't have to be a constant negotiation. That sometimes things can just be easy, light, human, and watch how that ease becomes contagious. How people around you start to relax, start to open, start to remember that they used to know how to do this too, before the world taught them that walls were safer than bridges. The smile that the world only saw in Brazil isn't about your teeth or your technique. It's about the fact that somewhere deep in your cultural DNA, there's a programming that says connection first, protection second, that says warmth is strength, not weakness, that says joy is a form of resistance, and choosing to be open in a world that rewards closure is the bravest thing you can do. You've been carrying a superpower you didn't know was rare, moving through the world, assuming everyone had access to this same capacity for instant, genuine, disarming warmth. And now that you know they don't, now that you understand that what feels natural to you is actually extraordinary, you get to choose what to do with that knowledge. You can hide it, dim it, protect yourself from a world that might not always appreciate it, or you can turn it up, lean into it. Let yourself be the reminder that another way of being is possible. That humans were designed for connection before they were trained for competition. That the warmth you offer so freely is exactly what a cold world needs, even if it doesn't know how to ask for it. Your smile breaks down walls faster than any argument ever could. It disarms defenses that have been years in the making. It creates space for vulnerability in rooms where everyone came prepared for battle. And that ability to transform an environment just by showing up and being genuinely, warmly, impossibly present, that's not something you should ever shrink. That's something the world needs more of, not less. So smile. Not the careful smile, not the calculated smile, not the smile you think is appropriate for the situation, but the smile that comes from that deep Brazilian place that knows connection is the point, that warmth is currency, that being fully present with another human is sacred even when it happens in a grocery store line or on a crowded bus. Smile because your ancestors smiled through, worse, smiled, as an act of defiance smiled, to remind themselves that no external circumstance could touch the internal light. And that light is still in you, still bright, still capable of changing the temperature of any room you enter if you let it. The world will try to teach you that your openness is naive, that your warmth is unprofessional, that your smile should be rationed and strategic. But the world is wrong. The world is cold because it forgot how to be warm, and you don't fix cold by becoming colder. You fix it by refusing to let the temperature drop, by being the heat source that reminds everyone else that they're allowed to thaw. Your smile is a rebellion, a remembering, a reclamation of what it means to be human in a world that's trying very hard to forget. And every time you offer it freely, genuinely, without calculation or condition, you're not just being nice, you're being revolutionary, because you're proving that another way is possible, that warmth can coexist with strength, that openness doesn't require foolishness, that the most powerful thing you can do in a room full of armor is show up without any. And smile like you know something they forgot, which is that we all came here to connect, and everything else is just noise.